Welcome to Built for Love, a podcast about dating with intention, loving with purpose, and navigating relationships with depth. Each episode, we break past what no longer serves us and get clear on what we truly need in love. Welcome to the path back to you, to love, to self, to truth. Because love isn't something we chase, it's something we're built for. Hey there, you beautiful souls. Welcome to Built for Love. I'm your host, Javier Ortega, and today's episode is one I honestly wasn't sure I wanted to record, but as I started mapping out the structure of this podcast, I realized that my own twin flame journey has been a major catalyst, and not just for this podcast, but for how I've been able to step more fully into my own purpose. It's a journey that's cracked me open, stretched me, and realigned me in ways I never expected. So if you've ever experienced a connection so intense, it shook the foundation of who you thought you were, or if you've been on or currently are on the twin flame path, or know anybody who's on this path, this episode is for you. Joining me today is a powerful voice in both global advocacy and spiritual awakening. Manny is a human rights advocate, a mental health professional, a best-selling author and speaker. And he's worked with organizations like the United Nations, government bodies, and global NGOs, and has collaborated with groups such as Stonewall and more. He's also been honored as one of the most influential LGBTQ+ activists in the UK by the Independence Rainbow List, the National Diversity Awards, and the Attitude Awards. He's also the author of Bollywood Gay, an Amazon #1 bestseller that blends the principles of the law of attraction with powerful self-help tools. Through his work as a diversity consultant and life coach, he creates multilingual content and offers healing-centered support, especially for LGBTQ+ South Asians and anyone seeking alignment and empowerment. Manny shares deep insights on spiritual connections, whether it's karmic, soulmate, or twin flames, and reminds us that these relationships are not just about romance, but about growth, healing, and evolution. Today we'll be diving into what the real twin flame journey looks like, the purpose of separation, the power of surrender, and how to stay in alignment without attachment. We'll also touch on dating from a place of empowerment, especially for those walking the divine feminine path post-awakening. Manny, I'm super duper excited for this conversation. Your voice has helped bring clarity to so many people navigating this journey, including myself. So to start us off, how would you describe the difference between a karmic soulmate, a true soulmate, and a twin flame? Because there's a lot of confusion around those terms. And many people think intense chemistry automatically means they've met their twin flame. How do you distinguish between these connections, and how has your experience shaped that?
Thank you for having me, and good question, because a lot of people think they're on the twin flame journey. There's a lot of misunderstandings. But from the perspective of all that is, we'll start grand. We are all one. And at the end of the day, everything is you and you are everything. And you can get to a state of such ascension where you see yourself in everybody. But from what I know and my knowledge, when we're created all as one, as we come down in separations, the first separation is when your soul is split in two. Now, some people believe everyone has a twin flame. Everyone don't have a twin flame. I don't know. But all I know is this, that a twin flame is literally the other. Well, it's not the other half of your soul. It's literally your oversoul, which has incarnated in two bodies at the same time. Now, not all twin flames incarnate at the same time. One may be in the higher self, but you have the same vibrational frequency, the same energetic blueprint, and you're the yin to the yang. So there is one that's known as the divine feminine, one that's known as the divine masculine. And usually one is more of the shadow aspects, the part of you that you don't, that your blind spots that you're not aware of. And the purpose of a twin flame connection to be incarnated on earth is to help you with your ascension, to trigger out of all the deep, dark, karmic issues or ancestral lineage and things like that. And it's not an easy journey. And the way you know it's a twin flame is because you will have ascension, you'll have an awakening. And there's a lot of spiritual stuff that happens with it. So there's a lot of mirroring and triggering that hurts you to your core. And so you start going through this period of shedding all those layers of the ego. And it's like you get baptized and you feel like a layer of your ego has dissolved. And then you start obsessing over this person. One starts to chase, usually the awakened spiritual one, and the other one runs. It's like magnets, polar opposites. The energy in the beginning becomes so cataclysmic, so addictive, that as one focuses on the other uses that addictive energy to focus on other people. They want to focus it on their twin, but an energetic wall gets created between the two. But when you are intimate with your twin, you have something called Eros Gamos, which is basically the marriage of the two souls. And it's a third energy that's created when twin flames do have sex. And this infinite light from above comes into the space. You see each other like angelic beings. It's for the spiritual one, the feminine energy, which is not to do with gender. It's a very spiritual experience. For the masculine one, it can be a very physical experience because they share the same chakra system. The masculine twin flame is more predominant in the lower chakras: sex, survival, creativity, ego, etc. So they see the world through that lens. It's and the spiritual one is more of the upper chakras. And the key is to balance out and to get to that stage of union within and then without. Now, soulmates is a concept basically where anyone who mates with your soul can be your soulmate, which includes not just romantic partners, friends, families, animals, pets, anything like that, anything that you have a connection with. And if you are both aligned, you have a beautiful aligned experience. But if you are misaligned, that can be like a karmic situation, a karmic relationship where the relationship is very toxic. It can be very, very triggering and negative. Now, with a twin flame, yes, there can be toxicity, there can be negativity. But the thing with that is you heal and you ascend and you grow. Whereas with karmics, because the triggering is so much, you actually get pulled down. You don't actually break free from your issues. A twin mirrors exactly where your triggers are, where you need to have an ego death. So that's the pinpoint in which they put the pain. You revisit your pain to unleash it, let it go, and therefore you ascend. You can never hate your twin flame. You may try, but there's always unconditional love because it's one soul, it's one energetic resonance. So that unconditional love helps to alchemize the pain. Whereas with karmics, there is not the unconditional love. So you actually drag down. With the twin flame, you ascend, you become more abundant, you become younger, you become more spiritual, your spiritual gifts get activated online. So many things happen. But yeah, that's my long answer, right? If you want to ask more, you can.
No, I absolutely love that. So you mentioned about gender, right? And that was one thing that, as being, being on the twin flame journey is a very interesting thing because you have this knowing about information, right? It's not like you need to learn from it. It helps, to seek guidance and to seek clarity. The way I like to put it is, I have this knowing, and I get these confirmations from people who I resonate with. And also I've learned that being on the twin flame journey, you attract other twin flames. I've attracted, I have several people that I was not aware of were twin flames until I started speaking about it. And, me and my husband are twin flames. We were in separation for 10 years, off and on. Me and everybody has these very profound stories, but you once you awaken to it, you get supported on that journey. But you did mention about gender, and gender is one of those things where, when somebody would ask me, so is it male, female? Well, no, as a gay man, I'm a divine feminine. You're a divine feminine. I have a divine masculine. But I can also see, not even, I can also see in certain twin flames, like a female being the divine masculine and a male being divine feminine. But you can also just see in general the masculine and the feminine energy in people, right? And it doesn't play a gender role. What's your experience with that?
very good question. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the info thing, the information. Information can keep you stuck in the ego. It can. It can become a mind thing as opposed to a soul thing. So it's very important to like kind of also understand when you need to let go of the information. With regards to twin flames, the gendered concept, there is no gender, but because we live in a heteronormative society, it has been made into masculine and feminine, divine masculine. You can call it runner chaser, alpha omega, yin yang, whatever else you want to call it. You can call it one and two, far better, than actually using the male and female. And in the beginning, no one is divine. Well, we are at the core, but from our the way in which we're behaving, we're distorted. So yeah, the terms divine masculine, divine feminine can give off that gendered heteronormativity. You have divine masculines who are female, divine masculines who are, male, and etc. And the same with the feminines. And then you also have some people who ask questions about if you're trans and whether you change gender. It's nothing to do with your sexual organs or the gender in the way in which you choose to live your life and behave. When I first found out I was divine feminine, I was like, what? I didn't really associate it. And I worked with a coach, and she would always refer to me as she. And I was like, well, first of all, you're misgendering me. You're putting a different pronoun in. I actually personally do not like the male female aspect of it. I think it's very restrictive in a sense, because some people talk about like the masculine gives you the energy, and then like you receive it from them as the feminine, but then sexually they're trying to liken it to that. But you have DMs who are females, right?
Right.
Who are in a heterosexual relationship with their DF. So yeah, I'd lean more towards other terms.
Right, right. And I resonate with that as well. And the way I put it is like it's not you also have to see it as the overall picture, right? It's not that I'm just the feminine one and he's just the masculine one. It's your overall soul that has reincarnated into two, or who is split into two. So it just happens to be that I carry that predominantly divine feminine and he carries that predominantly divine masculine. But part of this journey is balancing out your own yin and yang within that process. And that, we'll get into this, but that's kind of what my knowing has brought me to understand what union is you are your divine masculine as well, and as divine feminine, and really strengthening and removing any blocks that you have in the way of that energy.
Yeah, and it's interesting whether it is like a split soul or whatever it is, because if you think about it from a term of like what Bashar Daralanka talks about the oversoul. So, for example, say the oversoul is this piece of paper. How many dots can I put on it? I can put millions of dots on it, and those are all your incarnations. So those are your lives, because time is not linear. So all your lives and realities and dimensions and timelines are all coexisting at the same time. So your one oversoul can have millions of incarnations at the same time. And it just happens to be that you meet that incarnation on Earth at the same time. It's very mind-boggling in how it all works. When I did a mushroom trip, I saw like all sorts of things, and it was showing like how you start off in union as your split soul, or whatever you want to call it, you and your twin. But lifetimes of separation, you kind of mirror each other and gravitate the other way. So you're kind of like almost the opposite, but the same. And then when you meet each other, you kind of like really shocked and kind of like freaked out, because they are so far from what you remember them, and you are so far from what they remember too, which is that wholeness. Because one becomes very spiritual, one becomes very 3D, and in fact, you actually are both. So that's where the inner union aspect is actually coming to terms and accepting without judgment all that they are, and what them accepting what you are, and you kind of almost neutralize each other and almost interweave into one being back again to wholeness. So yeah,
Right.
it's interesting.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So when did you first become aware that you were on the twin flame journey?
So I met my twin flame first in October 2022, and initially I didn't know that's what it was, but I think by January 2023, so 3 months later, I spoke to a psychic who confirmed it, because I was trying to figure out things. And my cousin is a twin flame as well, and she already knew about. I knew the concept, but there's something about reading it and then going through it's completely different. You read it and it's like, oh, two souls, they trigger each other, they love each other, one runs, one chases. That could have been a lot of my exes, you know,
Right.
but this is completely different.
When you're on the journey or when you're first in this connection, at least for me, like I wasn't aware that I was going through a twin flame journey, right? It's during the separation that it is a very, not just painful, but it's a very connected separation. And I'm not in union with my twin flame. And we did have a separation and then got back together. I was with this person. Prior to that, I was in an 11-year relationship, right? And which was a beautiful relationship. It was perfect. I learned so much. Perfect in the sense that I wouldn't change anything. I grew so much from that. But these 4 months were far more profound, right? And it's no offense to anybody. For me, the thing is once you've connected with this with your other self, they become that awakening, they become an integral part of you. And it comes in waves. It comes in waves to let you know that you're on that journey. You know, what that means, it to me, it's just a reminder of like continue to work on my path because he has been the catalyst for me stepping into the version of myself that I always knew I was supposed to in order to fulfill my purpose. So with that being said, how has your perspective on twin flames evolved over time?
So in the beginning, it was like, I gotta get that man, I gotta get that man. Everything was like, I wanna get him. Very controlled, very toxic in my way and viewpoint. It was all about the relationship, crawling to that, trying to grab him. And it was just about like love and a relationship. And now it's evolved. It's taken a while, but to fully understand that it's way more than just the DM. Like that's just the carrot. That's just the beginning. You know, it's an awakening. It's ascension. It's total liberation, total freedom from the shackles of the prison, of the 3D, of the matrix, of the fear, of the ego, of the illusion. It's being total oneness with all that is, with God, with love, with peace, with enlightenment. You know, it's so beautiful. It's about
Right.
getting all of your gifts, your abundance, your purpose. It's about helping others, doing your mission work. It's about being in joy. It's about bringing light on earth. It's being in totally empowered, totally in your divinity, totally in your sovereignty, totally in your freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. That was well said. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about twin flames?
It's toxic. It's just you're obsessed with someone who doesn't give a shit about you. Um, Limerence, you know, it's all the, oh, it's just a catalyst. You're not meant to be in union. I don't agree with that. I don't think the universe brings you this person just for the sake of it. But it depends. I mean, from the soul, from the soul, the higher self, the divine, it knows what's meant to be, and total surrender does just allow it to play out how it's got to play out. And some twins don't get into union this lifetime, whether it's their decision or their life path. But from the mind, you can think about all these things, like it's this or that. But the misconceptions are that it's just about love, or it's just about the person, or it's just a catalyst and they're going to go away. And you've got to, a lot of people don't understand you. You're like a weird zoo animal, I guess. You're an experiment that people don't get. They think you're weird and crazy.
Right, right. And that's kind of where, I think that part of the journey for me was at least removing the need for validation from anybody, right? Because, throughout life, just in this journey or in general, the more you follow your intuition on what feels right, the more you walk more through life in a fulfilled way. And I feel like if anything, this journey strengthens that muscle, that intuitive connection. And at least for me, I mean, I think it's one thing that many, many humans struggle with is seeking validation. And this is a journey that's going to teach you to just surrender that, God is, this is a journey that you're on with God or with the universe, however you choose to call our higher power. And so, yeah, it's been a very painful tough journey, and a journey that is very difficult because you can't as much as you want to at the beginning. You would love to explain to people and show them and tell them what you're going through because it's something that you've never experienced, but at some point you have to just let that go and find peace with some people some people will understand as much as they can, right? It's and some people, just won't, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're so geared up from birth to look at the 3D and the senses and the outside, what is tangible, what is physical, what is visceral, what is there. And it's always looking outside. What are people thinking and saying? What are they wearing? What are they doing? How they have a relationship? How they got to make money? And what is sex? And what is body? And what is power? What is all these things? How I'm made small because of the governments, because of the international community, whatever's going on with the climate, the walls, the earth, the whatever. It's always outside, outside, outside. And if we didn't have our senses, perhaps then we would go more within. But the journey does make you look beyond that into your intuition in your third eye, go deeper beyond the veil and the illusion to understand. Because in separation, the whole physical aspect of your twin is showing they've blocked you, they've moved on, they've married someone else, or they're doing stuff with other people, or they're living their life and they're happy. But there's that calling, the depth, the connection. And you have to learn to trust that. There's a lot of doubts, there's a lot of fears. That all relates to your ancestry. That all relates to the lineage, the ego, the illusions, and you're shattering them one after the other, shattering them, shattering them, shattering them, breaking them, opening yourself more and more and more. And there is a need for validation. And I feel like on the twin flame journey, I was the same. But some of the clients I work with, some of my followers, they will ask the same question over and over again, over and over again. It's like constant reassurance, constant. The ego, the fear mind needs so much constant reassurance to say, yes, you're going to be fine. It's going to work out. Da, 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 da. And then it clicks.
Right, right. For our listeners, I know what 3D and 5D is, but can you just explain what 3D and 5D is?
Again, all labels, all concepts, choose what resonates. But what they say is that 3D is the world we're in right now, the matrix. It's a very dense energy. It's where people are more so focused on the lower three chakras, actually, and they're more focused on survival and ego. And it's about a lot of it's to do with control. A lot of it's to do with not really having any sort of connection to any higher power as such. It's more on what's in front of you, what's the physical, how the world is in terms of sexuality, ego, creativity, money, survival, dog eat dog. The fittest wins the race. It's all about like taking power and being, it's very much the toxic masculinity as well, actually. And then in between that, you have a 4D, which is kind of like the bridge. I don't know why it exists, but it's there. It's the astral world, the dream world, where a lot of spirits reside, a lot of demonic spirits and negative beings, also energies or thought patterns reside there too. And then when you go into the 5D consciousness, which is this world actually, it is seeing everything, but from a more elevated, higher spiritual level. When you're in 5D, you're more connected with the upper chakras, the heart chakra, especially in 5D. And it's more about love and oneness and seeing that we are all interconnected and how karma plays out. When you're in 5D, high vibrational love, light, soul energy, you get instant karma and you see how it all impacts. In 3D, it's a little bit slower. So the higher in vibration you go, the more in the vibrational frequency from anger, fear, depression to like contentment, peace, love, and joy, things accelerate. The frequency, if you see it from a scientific perspective and you see from like light and sound frequency, it gets much more higher and quicker. So things vibrate back faster to you. And basically you are more intuitive, more connected. Your body also changes. It goes to more being a light being. You become healthier because you're letting go of all the negativity and the density and the toxicity, and you're becoming lighter and therefore more youthful, more healthier. But people want the world, they're saying we're going through a change and ascension, and the world is going to the 5D where we are learning the interconnectedness and the evolution of our soul. You might want to add to it, but there is loads of stuff out there.
Right, right. No, I love it. Yeah, very 3D. Yeah, to summarize that, which I love the way you explained that, but yeah, 3D is very like our earthly experience, our physical experience. 4D, that I love the way you said it's that bridge, the dreams, and 5D is, you know, connecting spiritually and into that oneness, and with that, you know, not just fulfillment, but so much healing, and like you said, you show up healthier in the 3D. But you know what I've also learned through this journey is the balance, right? We're yes, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, but we're still here to have the human experience because there's lessons in harmony with the 3D and the 5D.
Yeah, and you have to integrate that. So I went through last year, January to March, I went through a place of enlightenment or in a union where I just was rejecting the whole 3D, and I wanted to like, I thought I was going to die because I was so in oneness with all. And I wanted to like become almost like a aesthetic or a monk. Like I didn't have any desire for luxury items or food or travel. And I was like really rejecting it, thinking, how am I going to be with my twin flame who wants kids, who wants to have this lifestyle when I don't want anything anymore? However, like a lot of spiritual people, we get to that stage of um, like being separate from our 3D selves, our physical selves. There's
Right.
a lot of issues with money, with sex, with power. And it's about alchemizing that, integrating that to its highest divine form, and to actually integrate that. Because as twin flames, especially, you are bringing those higher light codes. So they say there's 12 dimensions, there might be more, I don't know, and the densities. But you're bringing that more loving energy into this reality. So you actually have to work. That's why the divine masculine twin is very physically based. They foundationally anchor your light from the spiritual one onto earth. But the reason why they have issues is because the spiritual one's looking at the physical one, thinking, why are you so obsessed with money and sex and power? But we have to utilize both, like two hands coming together to alchemize and elevate. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So before we jumped into 3D and 5D, we were talking a little bit about separation as well. You know, separation, it's described as the most painful um part of the journey. Why do you think separation is necessary for ascension?
For twin flames. And it's not always necessary. Some twins have done lots of work in other lifetimes and it's easy and they get into union quite, they don't have, some of them don't have separation, you know, but some of us need it because when we look at our twins, some DFs, for example, cannot even look at a picture of their twin flame, and the runner, the DM energy cannot also because it's too triggering. Seeing your shadows, your reflection, your light in another person when you are so distorted from that can be like a shock to the system. You know, it's like you're seeing this you're seeing yourself but differently. And if you were to put twins in a room and lock the door, they might even kill each other. And in other lifetimes, some twins have destroyed each other, killed each other, or done various things which can affect the collective. So separation is the period which is necessary to allow you to start to heal and integrate, and also understand the connection, understand the telepathy, understand the depth of it, and understand that the work you have to do. You know, that's where your heart basically shatters into millions of pieces, where you feel like your body's died because you're then looking at all the aspects of you that you wouldn't. Pain is a great teacher, unfortunately. I don't know why the journey is created this way. I would prefer it to be done through love, but pain helps you to really face. You have to relive the pain to let it go. So separation is that aspect of learning about your telepathy, your intuition, and listening to the delts and letting them go. Because you want to get to a stage, which you will, where basically it doesn't matter who your twin flames with, what they're doing, where they're going, how they're presenting themselves in the 3D. You understand beyond doubt, beyond fear, that you are one, and nothing that is yours can be taken away from you, for it's already yours. So it's getting into your power, getting into your sovereignty. So when they do return, you are not triggered, you are not misaligned from, if they look at someone else or do something, you are totally in your power, knowing you went through hell and nothing can destroy this. You have worked your ass off in order to cement your ascension, and nothing has the power to destroy that.
Right, right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you know the things that trigger you in your divine masculine during that separation. Um, tend to be the things that you have to go inward, like a you spot it, you got it thing. You have to go inward, and it's like clearly showing you the things that you need to heal about yourself. And as you're going through the journey, at least for me, like early on with this person, I couldn't see it that way. I kind of, why does he act like this, or why does he react like this, or why does he show up like this? And in ways, I learned during separation, I've learned is there's also that balance of me needing to show up more in my power, more taking up space, more speaking my mind, and diving into the things that are in the way of that. Um, so and with that process as well is surrender is a big thing on this journey. What is what would you say surrender actually? What's the main um, what does it mean in the twin flame journey?
Oh my gosh, the people kept saying to me in the beginning, surrender, 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 surrender. I'm like, what the hell? What does that mean? I was a control freak. Still am a little bit, but like come from a very controlling family as well. And it's like, what does it mean? And they're like, there's levels of surrender, and you'll get more and more into surrender and surrender. And I'm like, I don't know, I want him now. He needs to fix up. I learned that surrender was more likened to acceptance as well, actually. It's
Mhm.
accepting what is, trusting, allowing. Allowing is a good one. Acceptance and allowing is more easier than for me than surrender, but it takes time, and you do get to a place where you learn to let go, because basically we try to control, we want to do this, and we want to get the twin flame. They don't listen. No matter what you try, you can email, talk, phone, handcuff, do what you want with them, lock them up. They won't listen. And then the only option you have is to just allow it, accept it, and let it go. Because you realize this is beyond you. This is beyond you and I. This is beyond the twin flame. Because you both get aligned. You both get, I call it blasted. You have thunderbolts, like tower moments or whatever. If they do things, your twin flame does anything against the union, they get they get blasted into alignment. If they do anything wrong to you, there's no karma between twins because you're one soul, but there is a balancing act. So if they are going against the truth of the connection, then they will be brought in line. And especially if you're doing your work and you're working towards your ascension. So I think, yeah, it's about acceptance, it's about allowing. And then you do get to a place where you just like, you don't really care anymore, and you're just so happy and you don't want the drama. You're in just oneness and love and joy, that you don't even want to care to look what they're doing or get affected by what they're doing. You just let them get on with it, because with twin flames there's this element of emptying your cup, I call it. So where basically as soon as you meet the gong is struck and you start ascending, but it means all the negativity and all the fear and all the crap needs to come out, all the addictive energy,
Mm.
all the sexual distortions, all your issues. And with the divine feminine, that is very mental, very emotional, very obsessive, and very toxic in that way. But for the masculine, it is because they're in the lower chakras. They start doing on a physical level, survival, whether it is like going off with karmics or sleeping with everyone, doing drugs and addictions, or, showing their sexual energy everywhere. Especially in the beginning, when the divine feminine is obsessed, she's feeding his energy, or divine feminine energy is feeding that energy of the divine masculine, and it gets into their ego even more. So, yeah, basically, it is about letting it all, shedding the layers, and allowing those cups to be emptied, and saying in your heart to your twin, it's okay, baby. You've got to let go of all that ancestral stuff, karmic stuff, past life stuff, society templates, because twin flames are here to heal so much of other people's issues as well that is harbored within us. And once we let it go, we role model and we illuminate others. We show them the way, like the marathon runner doing it in 9 seconds one year, doing it in 8 seconds the next year. We show what is possible for humanity. And so you allow your twin to go through their process. It's almost like a baby. You allow it to take its steps and crawl and walk and talk. It's a process. And twins go through that process of being babies and toddlers and teenagers and then adults. And your twin flame might take longer than you, but it's all divinely orchestrated, and you have no control.
Right, right. And it's that knowing. I love how you said empty your cup. I like to say that, not I like to say what I went through on my journey was I was so stuck in the 5D and so stuck living there for so long. And I mean, my cup wasn't just emptied, it was shattered, like completely shattered, broken, had, and from there came an even bigger cup. And so, even through, as you're saying, like you that surrender process, you at the beginning of that separation, you're all of a sudden getting these downloads of this knowing of the journey that you're on and then support it, and then you just want to be able to explain that and help your other self understand what we're going through. And then you realize, if I'm being supported on this journey, if I'm getting all this information, if we're truly on the same journey, he'll get it. Like, that's not for me to figure it out. That's not for me to. At one point, I was like, I don't think he's ready because of this. And I was pointing fingers like he's not ready because of this and that and this and that. Baby, those three fingers were pointing right back at me. And I had to learn that I wasn't ready for so much of it. And that's been developing over the last few months, 5.5 months into my healing. I'm like, or into my ascension, I'm like, wow, like I feel like I'm ready for a relationship like never before. And then all of a sudden it dives me into inner child healing, and now family generational healing. And so it's and I'm right now I'm in the process of like taking it day by day, because at one point you think you have yourself figured out, and this journey is teaching you like it's
It's like,
the growth never
are
ends.
you really ready? Are you really, 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 really ready? No, you're not.
Right, right. And then it trips you.
You know what?
No,
Perfection is never going to be there anyway.
say again, I'm sorry.
There's not going to be perfection. There's always going to be things because you can be in high vibe, low vibe, and things can change throughout the day. So I want people who are listening to that you don't have to be this ascended guru, master, or in perfection. As long as you've got the tools, you can make it work.
Right. And that's a big thing that this journey teaches you, is that it's not about perfection. And there's never like you said, there's never going to be perfection, but it's about showing up as the healthiest version of yourself, as the most at peace, I guess, as peace is also something that's ever growing. But showing up as the version of yourself that has the capacity to be present in such a profound connection and a profound journey. So with that being said as well, right? We talk about letting go, and I resonate with that, and I no longer look for, I'm at a point where I hope he's happy. I wish him the best, and I still feel him in me, right? So with that being said, how do you navigate the waves of feeling your twin flame energetically? Because there are times when we feel detached and at peace, and then suddenly that fire reignites, and it's as intensely as ever, and like as ever, and it feels like it even grows. So what has helped you manage these energetic shifts? I know for me, it's been able to find more peace within self, and when I feel those waves come, sending that towards him, because I'm so full of gratitude. But what would you say has helped you, or you've seen has helped others?
Yeah. Um, First of all, I want to talk about, when you're trying to like control a kid, for example, and then they just like throw all the stuff back at you and say "F you." I find the DMs are often like that. Like you're trying to put the label, like "baby, baby, we're twin flames, baby, baby, this is how it's gonna be. You're gonna heal." And they're like, "Fuck off!" Like they really don't care because they're here to kind of like shatter those templates of that restriction that we have as spiritual beings, because actual ascension and connection with the divine is beyond the mind. It's beyond the concepts, the 3D, the 5D, the what D, and all this and that, the other D. It's beyond all of that.
Right,
It's
right,
beyond all those things, and they often do not care about it because we are trying to control them to be like this like spiritual person, and they're going to go and do whatever they want to do, and that's the perfection of it. So it's about accepting what is right now. Okay, so you talked about this thing about being peaceful, or this. It's not even that. I don't think. I think it's about like right now I'm feeling very sad. I accept it. I feel very sexy. I accept that. I'm this. I accept it, because you're never going to be perfect, and things are always going to come up from the past or whatever else, the ancestry. So when you're with your twin in union, you'll trigger each other, but you decided we're going to stick at it I'm not going to run. I'm going to like face it and accept it and let it go. Accept it and let it go because it is your karma or whatever else. But with the feeling of the twin flame energetically, I am lucky that I don't feel so much like bad like separation stuff. In the beginning, I used to feel that maybe the heart pull and all this, and I used to reach out. But I think the key to it is some people, what they try to do is people try to always say, oh, I'm feeling his emotions now. And I say, no, it's your emotions because it's your one soul, your one energy, right? And it's happening in your body. Yes, it might be related to him, but he is you. So it's your energies that you are feeling, how you alchemizing them, how you integrating them. Because often the people I work with, they want to separate. I want to remove this feeling. I don't want it. And I need to get it out of my system because I hate it. It repulses me. It makes me feel sick. Well, that's about you then. You need to integrate. You got to accept.
Hmm.
You've got to bring it into wholeness with one yourself. Okay. So if you're some of my friends are feeling very sexual energy, he's sending me sexual energy. It's your sexual energy that you're not integrating and loving because he is you. You know,
Right.
you're feeling that heart pull. Well, he is you because you're seeing him as separate. So where are you not giving yourself that love and feeling yourself as being one with all that is? So that's only was it this week and last week I felt a little bit stuff from the that energy stuff, and I just went within and I integrated it. I have this like policy where I don't send love to my twin flame.
Okay.
So I know people do it. I find it to be chasing energy. I find it to inflate his ego. He's got a big enough ego as it is, as do I. So I don't need to do that. I just give it to myself because if he is me,
Mm.
considering he is me, I whatever I give myself, it'll be reflected. So I don't send energy to him. You can if you like and see how that works, but I never felt comfortable doing it. And when I did, I saw him getting inflated in his ego, but I just give it to myself. I just pour all that love back into me and feel that I'm already one with him. I live with my twin in the dream world. We're married and have kids and have loads of houses and we're very successful and wealthy and rich. But in my 3D world, he's always with me. I'm in the gym or I'm walking at home and I'm just like having a little sassiness. I'm like, yeah, baby, you want that. And just stuff like that. I live as though I'm already with him. So there
I
you go.
love that. No, I love that. Yeah, yeah. And earlier when I said finding peace, I just mean finding peace in the pain. Like embracing
Oh, yeah.
when again, like you said, when you're feeling sad, just feel sad. Like allow yourself to just be in that. Um and no, I love the way you said that. For me, I saw it as like sending it back to him because I love who I am today. I absolutely love who I am today. And he's the catalyst for that whole, and I say catalyst because of him, I am where I am today, spiritually, physically, mentally, and so for me, I just hope that he loves himself as well. He loves who he is as well,
But as
right?
long
But
as
but I love
you
how you said turning that back to keeping that energy within yourself. That definitely resonates.
I mean, he is you, so you're thanking yourself for your own ascension to trigger yourself. And if you love yourself, he will, because he's the same energy concept, right? We have to stop seeing it in duality and separation. Um, but yeah, I know there's a lot of coaches out there that like talk about blocking them or like detoxing or not doing this or not doing that. Whereas I'm in the belief of just embrace the mess and the chaos until you're bored of it and you've emptied it and you're tired of it, and then you choose something else, but not to control it, like to really just this is right now and I accept it and I love it and I let it be and I want to, I want to date other people or I want to have sex. If that's what you're feeling right now, it's something, there's a lesson, there's some urge, you want to do it. Like there's no restrictions because otherwise it festers and it will get ugly in different ways. So I'm all about just letting it flow. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So what does dating or opening yourself up look like after stepping into your divine feminine? I know many divine feminines are open to receiving love, but they struggle because their standards and awareness have completely shifted. I know for me, like my standards are way higher. How do we navigate dating after experiencing a twin flame connection? And how do you stay open to love and connection without waiting for union? Because some people, I've seen and I know people who get stuck in the idea of reunion and put their lives on hold. How do we move, or how would someone move forward still honoring the journey from your experience?
It's a journey. So before you meet your twin flame, a lot of the times, the twins, both of them actually, are kind of needy, codependent, working from toxic templates, chasing or acting egotistical or whatever it is, which is most of humanity is doing, that whole soulmate connection thing, which is from a place of trauma. So after you meet your twin flame, in the beginning, often, especially if you've been intimate with your twin, you'll shudder at the concept of even being close to someone or dating someone. You'll feel guilty, you'll feel bad. It will not match up. The twin flame sexual experience, emotional experience, it will not match up with anyone else, especially because you're still in healing phases, right? You're still not coming to your wholeness, your divinity, your pureness. But as you start getting into a place of no longer missing, no longer seeing separation, feeling that you are deserving of love, then you'll start attracting more high level soulmates. Then you'll start attracting more people on that vibration. In the beginning stages, you're going through dark night of the soul, you're obviously going to attract similar. So then you start bringing in those sort of better connections. But often, if not always, the men or the women you bring in or whoever you bring in will mirror where your twin flame's at, because the universe is playing a sick joke on you. The universe is helping you to see where you need to heal, because the twin flame's purpose is to do that. And if they're not there, then the universe will bring like either family, friends, work, or other people into your life to help you learn and go forward. Because the journey is pre-planned, prepaid for your ascension. It's all guided. So anyone who comes into your life, if you go from a place of neediness and lack, then you will get that back, and that will be a big lesson. But if you're from a place of wholeness and the universe brings someone, why not? Why not? Because you might learn something, you might gain something. It's a soul tie, a soul, it's a karmic connection, or maybe it's helping you. And every person I have interacted with in that way has actually helped to elevate me and push me forwards. But my connection
Right.
only ever lasted 1 or 2 weeks. It's never gone further. And I think there's a reason for that. But for some people, it does go further. And I know some twin flames, the divine feminines, for example, who did meet high level soulmates or chose to stay with a soulmate, and they do miss their twin, but they're happy where they're at. Now, the benefit of being with a twin is they will always be pushing you to ascension. There's that third energy created with the Hieros Gamos when you sleep with them. The light comes in, the sex is always getting better. It's amazing. It's a beautiful, loving connection. But your twin might have done a lot of bad stuff in the toxic phases and their trauma, and you might be finding it hard to forgive. But if you can, it takes you to another level of ascension, actually. But when you get to that place of in a union and ascension, they say you are presented as a divine feminine with an option of a high level soulmate who is almost similar but not exactly the same frequency as your twin flame. And you may choose them because maybe you just don't want to, after all the pain and hurt, and you see oneness in everything anyway, you're no longer lacking. But you won't be getting that level of the third energy being created, the unified field, the light energy coming in, the Hieros Gamos, the divinity, the angelic out of body, shamanic, tantric sex, which as a Scorpio, I would always choose the twin flame. So you'll create karma as well with your twin flame, which is good. But with a soulmate relationship, you can have a conscious relationship and choose not to create karma. But I don't know, for me, it's twin flame or nothing, for me.
Right. I got to a point a few months ago where I had to, which was the last time I was in communication with him, where I got to a point where I understood that there was a lot more healing that I needed to do for me, and I really needed to make space for that. And so I came to this point where for me it was like, I can no longer make space, because I feel like when you're holding on to your twin flame, like it can be very consuming. And so for me, it was like I can no longer hold space for somebody who isn't holding space for me. I will always make space because of who I am and how I show up in general. I will always make space if they, want to make that space for me, because I'm full of gratitude for them, but I can't make space for somebody who's not making space for me. And so I feel it. I know that who I end up with, who I marry is going to just expand me, and it's going to be it'll be even it'll be even more amazing than going through that first connection with my twin flame. And whether that's him or whether that's someone else, I completely just open my heart and soul to the path of receiving
Because
You
being
know
with
who
your
that
twin
is.
can be quite distracting. And if you're in union straight away, then all the things you create, all the healing you do, all the people you have, the purpose, the creation of all those amazing things, they don't happen because you're distracted. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
either this or something better. You open yourself to the universe. You know, the universe is such a magical, mystical place. I'm sure it's all orchestrated divinely for your benefit. So if you're in a place
Right.
of love and peace and abundance and ascension, it has to happen. You have to attract the right person for you at that time. So just be open to it and don't shudder. Some people are like, oh, I could never do it. So why not? Everyone deserves love. Why not?
Right, right. And it's also like you mentioned earlier, like, you know, I'm not sure if we had a conversation choosing this life, like, hey, like in this life, let's connect, be the catalyst for each other, and have lessons in separation. That's a possibility. But again, I'm open to however it plays out. I go with the flow of the journey now, and I know that I absolutely deserve and I'm worthy of the love that I know is for me. And so,
And
you know,
also, it's very important when you get your soulmate to treat them like you would if you were with your twin flame. So not to put them less than or not to act or behave in ways to
right.
make them feel uncomfortable, like really honor their soul and connect with them from that space. Um, And yeah, it's interesting, you know, about like, do you choose from the divine will, free will, and soul orchestrating before you got here, or do you make sort of like adjustments whilst you're here, saying, you know what, like, you know, well, let's get into union, let's not get into union, or let's, who knows, uh, you know. But as the leader, the divine feminine is choosing. If you're choosing yourself, always, you're choosing your ascension, your inner union, your own path, your own love, then your twin flame will mirror that anyway. And so they
Right.
will choose that too. And then you will be brought together. But just let it be. Like there's too much fixation on that one aspect of the totality, which is way bigger of ascension.
I agree. I love that. I love that. So before we close out, is there anything you'd like to share with those listening who may be struggling with their twin flame journey?
First of all, be free and don't judge yourself. If you want to do things, or don't feel bad that you're not being perfect or getting it right. Just live for the now and be free. But also just if you need to do things, do it. Don't stop yourself or control it. And if you need constant reassurance, keep listening, keep watching things, because I certainly did. I read a lot of Quora, I looked at a lot of videos, because there's a phase where you're going through fear and ego, and it's like revising for an exam or like getting yourself ready for a test. You keep saying the things over and over again in order to embed them, and it embeds that sense of relief, the sense of peace, the sense of love. And people will say, you know, why don't you just meditate or go for a run? This twin flame stuff is like one of the most addictive energies in the universe. It's very addictive. So go through the process and allow yourself. The first year is going to be hell. Let's just say that your first year on the journey is going to be hell. Embrace it, accept it. The second year gets better. Then each year it will get better and better. But allow yourself to to be in that. But it's not forever. And as long as you do your inner work, which is loving yourself and treating yourself the best you possibly can, you will feel better. But there's those who don't get better, and it's because I feel like they're not allowing and not doing the stuff they need to. They're kind of trying to stop and control it. But trust it and enjoy it if you can. It gets good. It does get really good.
I agree. I agree. I'm very, 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 very grateful for this journey. It's when you see yourself grow and step into your power, it's worth it.
Yeah, I used to be like, I don't wish this on my enemy. Why would you want this? I used to think like that a lot. Whereas now I'd be like, I wish this on everyone, because it really, if everyone met
Right.
their twin flame in the world, they would be forced out of their ego and their fear and their limitations. They'll be pushed into their power and into their love and embracing all. And that would create the 5D world we want.
Right. I agree. I love that. Manny, thank you, thank you, thank you for your wisdom and for sharing your experience today. I know this conversation will resonate deeply with so many people. I'm so, so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your time. And to everyone listening, remember love isn't something we chase, it's something we're built for. Love you guys. Until next time.
Thank you so much. Take care.